Okay, I'm going to talk about a company called Sweet Baby. If you don't know who or what Sweet Baby is, or Sweet Baby Inc., Sweet Baby Inc. is a company, technically, is a culture firm that basically is apparently supposed to help your game make it more less offensive to people in that culture, apparently. And well, I'm tying my shoe, that's why I'm doing this. But basically, like, I'm tying off my shoe. But basically, they don't do what they claim for. All they are is a company owned by BlackRock that hates basically any video game that where sex can sell. But then they'll encourage girls doing OnlyFans. They'll let people do all this, you know, kids do transitions or whatever, and make them do stupid stuff all the time. And well, they're underage, and then they'll get all mad when the model looks actually realistic, and then they'll claim it's unrealistic because, oh, not all women look like that. Not all women look like you, okay? Like, it's a video game. You can be as unrealistic as you want. That's why there's when it comes to, like, video games with, like, heavy graphics, you should have, like, a default mode, a couple other modes, like, a couple other, like, I don't know, like, fall, winter, spring, summer, or something like that, or just like certain holidays or something. And then put custom to make, like, so that way the person can make it however they want or whatever, and then they don't have to complain if the tits are too big, or the booty is too big, or the lady's not fat enough, or whatever. But basically, they're the people who made the Suicide Squad game, where they disrespected the character and basically just killed Batman, and the only character they respected was a woman, but even then it didn't seem respectable. It just seemed like a joke, and they were only just doing it because of the feminism. And I bet you the only reason why they were wokeifying it is not because of DEI or because those people actually believe that. What I think is there are these Baby Ink people, and they really want to hide their names into everything because they're afraid of showing failure. They're afraid of apology. So, they try to hide their name whenever they get into a game. So there was this that's like the lore or whatever you want to call it. But there is this guy online from like Brazil or something, and he had basically showed every single game that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with. And these are all games that obviously suck. Like Spider-Man 2. If you're watching this, Spider-Man 2 was kind of a big game, but basically it got wokeified, and everybody wants the Middle Eastern version because it doesn't disrespect the character. And basically, they want to push all this political messaging. Like, I don't care if it's left or right. I just want to play video games and have fun without being told about the real world. Okay? Even if it's set in the real world, even if it's set about real people, you gotta be like politically neutral as possible and be entertaining and, benefit the person who uses it, benefit the audience as most as possible. I mean, it's not to say like you should bow down or something. It's just you need to respect your audience more, because even if your customer is wrong, they're right. And I know I said you shouldn't bow down. It's just what I meant is you need, like when it comes to entertainment anyway, just listen to your audience. And especially for video games, because that's the dominant form of entertainment as of the recording of this video. And I don't know if you're watching this in the future, but it's very commonplace, you know, and some people have really weird, wacky names like Natalia and whatnot. So if you have that and you're watching this in 2038, it's not my fault your mother looks like somebody from CNN who smokes weed and talks about how Ben Shapiro looks like a weasel or something, and says that, you know, video games never politicized enough. But if it's that specifically, and you have that problem specifically, I just blew your freaking mind. Anyway, I'm not on for that. I want the politicalness out of it, and I want the entertainment in there. So that way, you know, people who actually can entertain, the actual entertainers, people who actually have talent, let the people make their entertainment, and then once they're done, and once it's accomplished, and once you know, sell it, then you can make commercials, marketing, however you want. Because at least when you have the finished product isn't ruined, you know? You can remaster it all you want, but you just gotta not make everything political. Like, just because I believe in something that I don't publicly admit, or I believe in something that I don't have in my private life or whatever, or I do something behind closed doors you don't approve of, doesn't necessarily mean it's political or has to be political, you know? Like, these people are always, especially Sweet Baby when it comes to video games, they're always political this, political that. They never want us to take a break. They always wanted to either divide or make everybody forced to those political beliefs. Like, bro, nobody's gonna believe you if that's all you are, and you think diversity and gender reassignment surgery, or whatever it's called nowadays. You know, they call it gender affirming care, but it's not gender affirming care, it's transgender hormone stuff. And they want to put that everywhere and make everything political, when that should never be the case. And I know I've been rambling on for like the past 8 minutes or so, but like, you gotta understand, at this time of period, as I'm saying this, it's making the younger generations look worse than they actually are. You know, like, every generation has their stereotype. Like, people in their generation think generations prior are too old and too outdated, and then they think generations, because they don't have a lot of experience with younger generations, they'll be like, oh yeah, you see this one thing, and so they'll cross it upon all. And so I don't know where this political stuff came in from. It probably started in like 2013, 2014. But who knows? I don't know how old this goes back. But I didn't start seeing this until like 2014. But even then, it was still very, you know, complicated to even talk about. And they're afraid of other people's beliefs. Like, just because one guy approves of this thing doesn't mean that the other guy can't. You know? I mean, even if you know it's wrong, just remember, when it comes to something like that, there's always the other side. And being politically neutral is what mostly sells, because you're basically telling either half of your audience or most of your audience to basically just go away and to basically never exist. The audience that made you money, alright? You're telling them to shoo, we don't need white male biological male straight people in here. Shoo shoo. You know, they want segregation all the time. And the bad kind of segregation, you know. And they always tend to hate on people like that. And then they just expect us to pay for their product. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to hate on the people who make us the most money, but then we're going to try and sell our product to those people. Like, it's not going to work if you hate on your audience. Stop treating your audience like it's a cancer. Okay? Because if you do that, then you're going to lose money. Lots of money. And you don't want that, do you? No. You don't want that because that would be bad, you know. That would be bad for, you know, you being a capitalist and everything. Well, they say that they're communists and socialists and whatever thing, bullcrap thing they'll come up with, but they're just capitalists, but with a current belief system cover. So, there's that. And then, you know, I just don't want political stuff in there when it comes to new stuff. And you say, oh yeah, you could just watch older entertainment. You could just watch other things. Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But basically, you're making yourself look bad. So I bet you in like 10 or 15, maybe 20 years, depending on how things go. I don't know if you're watching this in the future, but still, whatever. They'll probably look at this and go, what in the hell were they smoking, bro? Like, I can't believe people used to do that kind of thing. I can't believe people used to, you know, we live in an era where the word woke is bad because it's associated with that group of, you know, over political everything people. And, basically, everybody wants to be a liberal or a libertarian, but nobody wants to be a woke, you know? Nobody wants to be that. They'll say that on the screen, but then when it comes to election day, they're like, no, we don't want that. But, you know, they're obsessed with it. Like, I can understand if you want to believe something, you can believe something, but either leave that, just leave that out of your entertainment and your video games, leave that for your company, and leave that for enclosed doors. Mostly enclosed doors, okay? Leave your political beliefs behind closed doors, okay? Behind the company name for the deeper meaning or whatever. Just leave that behind closed doors and let the entertainment be, well, entertaining. And you don't have to, like, be the best instantly. It's just, you have to get somebody who has that ability and isn't going to stain and actually wants to do that thing and actually wants to be there for that reason. You know, wants to make a game. But nobody's there for the cutscenes. Everybody's there for the gameplay. And heck, even the older version of Mario, original Mario game, is better than a lot of this stuff nowadays. But it's not to say that there isn't any good games out now. There's games like Palworld. I mean, I haven't played the game, but I heard it's really good given certain things. But, you know, there's like Batman Arkham Asylum from like 2011, all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, I feel like if it goes well, within the next couple of years, these companies will probably be irrelevant. Or better yet, probably just go back to the way they were, but probably even greater. Who knows? They'll probably be like 10 times better in like 10, 15 years after I say this. Or however long you're watching this from now. Heck, I don't even know if you understand what I'm saying given language barrier. Or if 2024 English is still around in whatever era you're watching this in, I don't know. But if you're watching this in this year, just to let you know, yeah, it's a very sketchy and cringe and creepy time right now. And so if you're going through like an era like that in the future, like after this video is released, I'm right here. I'm just in a less advanced version of that, basically. But who knows? Maybe it will swing around and audience will be right back on top like they've always have been since the beginning of existence with entertainment or whatever. You know? But, yeah. It's going good and everything's fine, sort of. But yeah, society will eventually return back to normal and we'll probably go back to eras of a specific style within decades or something. I don't know. I mean, every year has its own thing going on, but like, when you're in that decade, you have to, like, make it make sense, like, make it, like, do the stuff you do, but make it, like, as if you're in that decade, like, whatever current year you're in, you know? Like, whatever you think that year is like within that decade or whatever. Because right now, in this era, like, every year is like its own decade, but it really shouldn't be that way. It should just be its own year within the decade, or decade be like its own year, you know? Decade be like its own thing, like it was in the 2010s or 2000s or 90s or 80s. You know, the only thing I can really think of off of the top of my head that separates the 80s from the 90s is Beavis and Butthead was in the 90s and MacGyver was in the 80s, the original one, not the bullcrap one we have at this time of, recording. So if you're watching this in the future, you can let me know. You can make your own video about it if you want to. I don't even know if the internet exists at this point, but who knows? It might be big. But yeah, it's completely okay to be anti-Sweet Baby. And yeah, I'll be out. Bye.